Hello YouTubers, RVers, and fellow hams. Well, this is update number 2, or update number 1. If you don't count the first announcement video as an update video, this is update number 1 of the Getting on the Road series. It's been a week. Although looking around me, it doesn't feel like I've accomplished a lot. I have accomplished a lot this week. Been doing a little bit of work on the RV, and been working on emptying out the house. I've sold several things, pieces of furniture and stuff. Lots more to sell. 23 years of stuff to sell. I thought that I would talk a little bit about something else related to this. It's kind of an extreme decision, hitting the road in the RV, selling off my house and my whole life basically, and minimalizing it all down and taking off. But it's something that I've done before. When I was 23, I think 22, 23, somewhere around there, I sold everything that I owned, which wasn't much, and I bought my dad's old 74 Chevy full-size van, 1974 van that had a straight 6 engine and a 3-speed manual transmission. Built a bed and storage in the back of it, loaded it up with food and stuff on an electric cooler, and kind of drove around the country for a month. It was a whirlwind tour, you know. Just 1 month. I looped all the way around and through the country, and saw quite a few things. I didn't settle down out there. I came back to Fort Wayne. I was too young. I looked and looked and looked for photographs. I didn't take many pictures. I was young. I did find one photograph of me on a horse. This was at the Royal Gorge in Colorado, and I was going to ride the horse. Well, I rode the horse down into the gorge on a guided tour. That was kind of fun. But boy, I was young back then. You can't see it, but it was the 80s, and I think I had a 6-inch blonde tail coming off the back of my hair, back of my head. It was a thing back then. But I've done this before. I was too young to appreciate what I was seeing or the experience, and I've always wanted to do it again. So that was kind of influential in my decision to go this route now. My health is declining. I'm having a harder time walking. So if I'm going to do it, I need to do it while I can still get around. So yeah, it's not a completely rash, spur-of-the-moment decision, selling everything and moving into the RV and taking the show on the road. There's many layers to it, and that was just one of them. So we're going to do it again, only this time I'm going to be taking my time. I'm going to be photographing a lot, videoing, paying attention to what's around me, and really enjoying the experience, I hope, and sharing it all with you guys. So that's what's going on. All right, so this week, what did I accomplish this week? Well, you know, we started out cleaning out the RV and vacuuming and cleaning up, we began to work on the where the operating desk is going to be. I have the assistance or help of a neighbor, John. He does carpentry work, and I have commissioned him to help me build the operating desk and workbench. And here's some photos. We started tearing out the old dinette set, and then John framed up what's going to be the operating desk. And in this final photo here, we're test fitting the board that's going to be the desk. Now, it is not cut yet. It's kind of hard to explain what's going on here, but what's going to happen is we're going to cut that back to fit the desktop, and there's going to be a flap that hinges down to become the workbench area. And then the desk itself is going to have shelving units and cubby holes all along that are going to enclose the radios and the test gear and so on. Underneath it will be storage. And when the desktop, or when the workbench area is hinged up, it'll lock and close up those cubbies to secure the radios and test gear and provide a little security for them. This window in the back will be completely obscured by the shelving unit, so I'm going to take those valances and curtains off and get some foam insulation, some foam core insulation, and I'm going to seal up and insulate over that window, and then the shelving will go over it. So I'll be losing that window, but that's okay. Plenty of light comes in. I'll have LED lights and solar power. That wall back there with that picture hanging on it, the picture's coming off. The shelves are going to extend up that wall as well, cubbies, where I can store parts and things. So I'm going to try to make as much use as I can out of available space for storage. And that's going to be the operating desk / workbench. So we're making progress there. Hopefully this coming week, we'll get the desktop and shelving units done and installed, and I can start wiring things up. Antennas. There's been a lot of suggestions on antennas and speculation. I've got pretty much a plan in my head. On top of the RV is an old satellite dish antenna, probably for DirecTV, and a UHF, VHF, and TV antenna. Now both of those have cranks inside the coach where you can crank to raise the antenna up. Somebody calls me when I'm doing a video. What I'm thinking about doing is I'm going to remove the DirecTV dish. It's old and nasty and probably non-functional anymore. And I'm going to remove the old VHF, UHF TV antenna. I don't watch TV. I haven't watched TV in almost 10 years. So I'm going to remove those, but I'm going to keep the crank-up parts. And I might, depending upon the budget, I might end up getting something like a screwdriver antenna and putting it on the shaft or the mast for the old TV antenna, so I could just crank it up to operate and then crank it down to travel. Something like that. And somebody else suggested I put a magnetic loop on the other one, and so I could crank up the magnetic loop. Maybe down the road, who knows. But we're going to get the desk done hopefully by the end of this week. Get the shelving units done and installed, and then I'll start running coaxes. Now for the main HF antenna, the backyard vertical is getting adapted to a quick deploy vertical antenna for the RV. I picked up one of these weatherproof boxes over at the hardware store, and what I'm going to do on this is it's going to go on the back of the RV up on the corner near the ladder, right next to the ladder. And on top of it, I'm going to have a wing nut and screw for an end-fed wire connection and a counterpoise connection. And I'm going to run a counterpoise wire right down the side of the coach along where the canopy rail is now for a counterpoise. And then on the ladder, I'm going to strap a PVC tube for dropping the telescoping mast into that currently makes up the backyard vertical. So I should be able to deploy the antenna within about 5 minutes. I'll arrive at a location. I'll just take the telescoping mast back there and extend it, go up and drop it in the tube and take the wire from the end of it and just connect it to the top of this and be on the air with a vertical I can tune from 80 meters through 10 meters. Also on the bottom of this box, I'm going to have 2 coax runs coming to this box, and on the bottom I'm going to have an SO239 here that will be sealed up with a cap, but that'll be an auxiliary external connector for other antenna experiments. Let's say I've built some kind of an antenna I want to try out that's going to go up into a tree. I'll just connect the coax to here, and then in where the radios are, I'll have an antenna switch that lets me select the end-fed wire configuration with the 9-to-1, which will also be in here, or this extra connector. And I might even run a third one over to there's a port by the door of the RV that contains, gosh, I think it has an old RF connector for television and a phone jack for a phone line. I don't know how they did the phone lines, but they had a phone line set up inside this RV. It's strange. But the external box is right there near the door, so I might have a third coax run to that that I can select for if I want to sit outside with the FT817, and just operate from there outside. So I'll have that option. So that's kind of the antenna plan right now on the RV. The only other thing is this magnetic loop back here. I'm going to be storing that in the cab over underneath where the cabinets are, where the bunk used to be. There used to be a bunk that slid in and slid out. Well, we've extracted that. So there's this nice gap, about like that, under there. Yeah, about 6 to 8 inches gap under there, which is enough space that I can tuck the bulk of that magnetic loop up under there for storage. But I'm thinking when it's under there, the copper will be suspended in the air. It won't be touching anything. I might actually try to tune it up with it tucked in there under the cab over and see if I can operate on it with it. It might be a nice stealth antenna for when I pull into a Walmart. I've been working inside the house a lot. I tore out all the 12-volt wiring that I'd put in when I played around with solar several years ago. I had little 12-volt tap points in a couple of strategic locations. I've removed the end-fed wire that went over the house. That's been taken down. I'll be tearing down the backyard vertical this week and removing that coax run. And the attic antenna, I'm taking that down. I'm pretty much off the air at this point. I don't have 12-volt power over to the radios. One of the antennas is down, the other coax runs are gone. So I'm pretty much off the air at this point, which is fine. I really don't have time for playing radio right now. I am literally just working on this project every day. And most of it is going through the house and throwing out things and packing up things. I was going about it all wrong, by the way. I was going through the house going, well, I guess I can keep this, I guess I could get rid of that, and trying to sort that way, trying to do both jobs at once, discard or sell things and put aside things. What I really need to do is I need to go through the house once and decide on everything I want to take with me and stage that all in one spot. And then once I have the pile of things that I'm going to be taking with me in the RV, everything else can go. And then I can just focus on getting rid of the rest of it. So yeah, there's that. What else did I do? I've picked up a bunch of stuff for the RV from Amazon. I spent the most I've ever spent on Amazon in one go. But I have some Eternabond tape for sealing up the roof on the RV. I'm going to be getting some liquid rubber to paint the roof with to totally seal the rest of it. I've got vent covers for the vents on the roof that keep the rain off and allow you to crack a vent when you're driving. I have, what else? Some lap sealant, self-leveling lap sealant I'm going to need for a couple of spots, and then I'm going to take some tubes with me on the road, of course. There's going to be a tool kit for working on the RV on the road. And solar panels. I got a 200-watt kit from Renology, I think is how it's pronounced. Two 100-watt panels, a charge controller. It's the default charge controller that they provide, and I know it uses pulse width modulation, so I'm going to try to filter it, and hopefully it doesn't generate a lot of noise on the HF radios, but we'll find out down the road. If it does, I can always replace the charge controller. And wiring, and a little piece you put up on the RV roof that lets you feed your wires in without letting water in. And batteries. I haven't got batteries yet. I'm waiting to see how much money I'm going to have in the mechanical work. Monday, which is 2 days from now, I have an appointment at a local shop to bring the RV in and get the brakes done and get the gaskets around the windows on the outside replaced because some of them have shrunk and pulled away from the edge. Get the fluids changed, oil change on the engine and generator, fluids changed and flush on the automatic transmission and the differential. So if all that mechanical work doesn't exceed what I budgeted for it, then I'll buy batteries for the solar. Depending upon how much I have in the budget, I'm hoping to go with at least a couple 120 amp hour AGM batteries, which are sealed, maintenance free, and don't need to be vented. That way I could put them inside the coach, probably under that couch, and not have them freeze if I end up getting into an area where the temperature drops below freezing overnight, so I don't lose power density. So that's sort of what I would like to do. If the budget gets cut short, I might end up going with 3 cheap marine deep cycle batteries from Walmart, $100 each. And yeah, not ideal, but they would at least get me power. I just have to figure out where to mount them, where they can be vented. So they produce hydrogen and hydrogen sulfide gas when they're charging, and you don't want that accumulating. Hydrogen, though, hydrogen gets out of anywhere. You can't even keep hydrogen in a latex balloon. It'll get through the latex. So I don't think I'd have to worry about hydrogen accumulating and becoming explosive. It's an RV with roof vents, and it's not airtight. Any hydrogen that got loose in there is going to find a way out and head for the stratosphere. So yeah, no problems, I'm sure. But still, I would have to vent them. Anyway. So yeah, kind of rambling again on this update. I'm just really tired. This has been the most work I think I've done in a long time, and I've got so much to do yet. I was going to seal the roof today. It's Saturday. But we have a constant rain since yesterday. It's been raining and raining. It's going to rain all the way through tomorrow, Sunday. So it looks like we'll be doing the sealing on the roof next week. I do have help for that. I think that's it. So we're rolling along, making progress. Hopefully next week, when I give you an update, I can show you the finished operating position and workbench. And I'll have some good news on the mechanical side of things. And we'll be getting closer. So 73 for now. We'll see you in a week, and hopefully in another month we'll be back to doing radio projects and videos on the road. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Also, if you're not already a subscriber, click to subscribe. Join us on the Facebook channel for discussion about the videos. And if you'd like to help support this channel, please click to support me on my Patreon page.